All right, and we should be live. Welcome, everybody, to the 2022 Lionel Big Book Extravaganza live stream here today. And we have some pretty distinguished guests joining me here. You might have heard of a couple of these guys before, but we figured that tonight, rather than going through each page step by step, and looking at the same pages that we've all already looked at about 1,000 times, that we would just have one big conversation amongst the five of us and all you guys in the live chat about the things that we like, the things that we may not like, and what we found interesting in the catalog. So let's have a good night.
Go team.
That's right.
Thanks for having
round robin. RJ, who's on tonight?
Oh, okay. So we've got myself. I'm sure you've heard of me before. I hope so. I'm RJ's Trains. Then we have some little kid from Maryland, Sid's Trains. He likes a couple of Norfolk and Western stuff. Maybe there might be a couple things in his catalog that interest him. Reporting live from Pennsylvania, we have Chris Trains and Things.
Everybody.
Then we have good old JD Stucks. Is this the first catalog that he orders a Lionel Legacy engine?
Nah,
Well, second Legacy engine. I guess we'll find that out tonight.
I'm gonna need a little bit of convincing, but it's a definite maybe.
We're gonna change his mind. And actually, everyone in the chat, you have to help us convince him because
we need all 60 of you guys watching right now to convince Jason to pre-order one.
Hey, Davin, saw your note.
And last but not least, you might have heard from him. Yeah, he just has a few subscribers out there, RBP Trains. So
can't wait to talk about the catalog, RJ.
So thank you guys for joining me tonight, for stooping down to my level and discussing the catalog with us tonight. And thank you everybody for tuning in and watching tonight. So we all know the headliner in this catalog is the Norfolk and Western Class A, and we have a kid in this live stream who has about 60 Norfolk and Western coal hoppers. So Sid, do you want to lead us off tonight and let us know what you're pre-ordering from the catalog?
Real quick, what's with the kid talk? Like Sid's a grown man now. Like
he's younger than me, and I feel super. He's younger than me, and I feel super young.
Yeah, and you called me an old timer or something.
You are an old timer.
I'm the oldest
What,
person
you've been in
on
this YouTube game for about 10 years now, Jason?
Okay, Jason's right in the middle because I'm pretty sure I'm older than Jason.
I wasn't gonna call either of the Chris's out, but I mean.
For those of you wondering, yeah, I'm the oldest, followed by what is it? You, Chris, and then Jason.
Yeah.
And then is it RJ and then Sid?
Then there's the gap. And
then there's a very large gap, everyone. We're not going to get into all that. We got to talk about trains, but
that's what we're here to do tonight.
For a moment. So, anyway, Sid, tell us about the Vision line because.
But hang on.
Did anybody just hear that voice?
I did.
Oh, I know what's going on. I think someone's earbuds are connecting to Sid's. Yeah. Something's going on. If you're not talking, just mute for a second. But moving on to, am I the only one hearing that, or am I just crazy?
No. Do you hear an echo?
No. Okay, I was just hearing something. It's gone now. Okay.
The ghost in your house, Sid. The ghost is telling you to buy a Vision line. Class A. Kick into it. Tell us why we should love it and why everybody should order one.
Moving on to actual trains now. Okay, so as we've all seen, and the first big thing in the catalog is the new Vision Line product, that being the Norfolk and Western Class A. As a big Norfolk and Western guy, and me being sort of known for my long N&W coal trains, I'm very excited that Lionel has put this in the new catalog. I used to have a Class A. I now don't because I saw that this engine was going to be in the catalog because I went to York and they showcased their prototype or the 3D printed model there. And when I saw it in the catalog, I was just amazed because it really looks nice. Lionel hasn't done this in over 20 years. And for it to be a Vision Line product is really cool. People have been asking for a Vision Line Class A, oddly enough, for a while now. And I wouldn't quite say that the hype was worth it. Lionel kind of overhyped one of the features being the 4-digit addressing, but everything else is fine. It's awesome. It has whistle steam. It has a pop-off valve seam similar to the S1 duplex here. And it's just a big articulated NW engine. And being that it still exists, that's just amazing to me. So I'm going to definitely be pre-ordering one. And I like that Lionel's doing lots of different variations. The generic 1218 and the Excursion paint scheme. They then have some World War II versions with different tenders. There's a pilot model. There's even a Norfolk and Western J passenger scheme. And then the one that I will be pre-ordering is the number 1238, which looks like a generic Class A, but instead it's going to have larger side rods similar to what is on 611. They're called roller bearing rods, and they just look awesome to me. And I'm really happy that Lionel will be doing that. The catalog renders don't really show that, but Ryan Kunkel at Lionel did confirm, and the catalog states that there will be roller bearing rods on 2 of these Class A's, the 1238 and then the LCCA exclusive, which I believe is 1222. So I'm really hyped for this. I have you can't really, it's not even in the camera shop, but on my shelf is my Norfolk and Western Y6B. I'm now going to have a Class A, and that just keeps my fleet growing. And I love big steam, so I'm really happy that I'm going to be I'm able to get one of these. And I do want to just mention that I'm going to be pre-ordering my Class A from a store in Manassas, Virginia called Toy Trains and Collectibles. Just wanted to put that out there if anyone was interested. But yeah, this is an awesome engine, and I think some other people in here should also order one. Chris and RJ, I think you guys should order one. It would be awesome seeing a quadruple header.
Well, I don't know which one to order. Like, there's too many of them, and when they did like the GSs, I think it was a little easier to pick and choose because a lot of them looked very different. Whereas with these, I mean, if you're someone like myself, where I'm not an expert on the Class A, it's hard for me to discern. And maybe for people watching, it could be the same thing. Like, what is I would say historically, which 2 or 3 of them have the most historical significance?
Chris, I think you got to get the pilot. I don't think you have a pilot in your collection.
Ooh,
Chris,
No,
what
I
is
mean, that's, I don't know. I'll probably put fingerprints all over that thing. So like, it's like, I know which one is in the museum. 1218.
1218. That's the one that also ran Excursions.
That's the one that like everyone's seen. So next to that one, what's the big historical engine in that list?
There's actually 2 that are kind of historical. There is the prototype, or like the World War II style, where it looks like a Class A, but the pilot is different. It's not like cast. It's more like what's on like a Berkshire or something like that, where there's kind of like a cow catcher. It's not streamlined. That's a really good way to put it. It's not very streamlined. And then the tender is completely different on the early ones. It's a Y3 tender. It's not even a Class A tender or a Y6 tender. It's a Y3 tender. And that's why it is so bulky looking behind the Class A. And then the other one that's kind of historic is the one I'm ordering, which is 1238, because it has those roller bearing rods. The significance of those rods was just to just be more efficient, just a better way to transfer the power throughout the rods. And it was done, they're Timken bearing rods. That was a company that designed bearings for a lot of these trains we know, like your big boy, like big boys in general. The tenders have those little silver caps sometimes,
right?
And those are Timken bearings rather.
So I think 2 things.
I worked for Timken.
Jason. I was going to say Jason worked for Timken, but here's the thing, right? So I know a lot of folks, Jason, who watch your channel have been waiting for the moment that you add Lionel Legacy, specifically Legacy Steam, because I think everybody assumes you're going to buy some Norfolk Southern, sorry for the people from Norfolk, Virginia, Do not hurt me. They're assuming you're going to buy some NS diesel engine, but this Norfolk and Western would be ideal for you. I mean, it's part of the road.
And it ran excursions for Norfolk Southern.
Exactly. And imagine
You've
it
got
going
those
over your
cars. You already
bridge.
have the passenger cars.
It did run excursions through my hometown.
Ooh.
It used to run on the ex-nickel plate line that Norfolk Southern acquired with Norfolk and Western. So that it is a very good argument. I'll give you that. But
How many views and likes will it take on this video for you to order it?
I don't know if it's views and likes. It might be monetary donations.
Yeah,
Well, I think
make
if you
sure
wanna
you do it on this
donate-
live stream.
If you want to
So it goes
donate
to
in
my
the live
account.
stream for the cause of me,
I mean,
one,
You have Colt here in the live chat saying it's time to go for it. I mean, if a guy like Colt is telling you to do it,
well,
Right, bite the bullet, man.
I see that. I'll admit it's tempting, but there might be something else in this catalog that ends up being my first legacy engine. And if it is, even I'll be a little surprised that this will be the choice. I mean, we can get to that in a little bit, but
Yeah.
there is something in here that it might be the one.
So I think there's another Chris in here that wants to order a Vision Line Class A.
Well, we'll see. I'm still not sold on it yet. There's a couple other things I have my eye on in here, and another thing I still have to sell. So we'll see. They're nice. The problem that I have is I don't have any N&W coal cars, and I don't have any N&W passenger cars. Now I have all my Pensy ones, so I could run it with Pensy stuff. But then why not just get something that ran? Like, why not just get a Pensy steamer then? So that's where
Wow.
I'm at. That's where I'm at.
hey, real quick,
Wow.
Jason, you just got a donation
Yeah.
via RJ's channel from the Rambles.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
By the way, if you haven't
Tony,
seen the Rambles
thank you,
channel,
Tony.
like he
Oh,
just
no.
started a YouTube channel, man. And Tony, he's got some serious camera work and a nice collection. So
Yep, I
Yeah,
second that. Go
thanks.
check out Tony's channel.
Thanks to the
Yeah.
Rambles. Yeah, nice guy. You should definitely subscribe to him.
I had one last topic on this engine because I don't know, we can't spend the whole thing on this engine, but this is an opinion, and the RBP, I never put my opinion out there, but what I liked with all the price hikes, they seem to hold this engine right around that 2,000 mark, which
True.
anybody who buys Vision Line was probably expecting this sucker to be like $2,500. So you get an
Oh.
articulated steam engine for around, I mean, for less than you would have paid for the big boy or for the 210-2. So, I mean, while it's still an expensive model, I was really happy to see that that was the one area of the catalog where the prices didn't necessarily hike. So,
And
I don't
I'll-
know. That's my opinion.
I'll close out the thoughts here because that price was something that really stood out to me. And I've been looking for an articulated Norfolk and Western steam locomotive. And comparing the price of this Vision Line Class A to the latest run of the two 882s that Lionel just came out with, they did like Norfolk and Western 2020 or something like that. And the price at hobby stores now is more for that than the pre-order prices for this Vision Line Class A. So, it's still $1,800, $1,900, but it's still at a good price for the product that you're getting.
I wouldn't say it's totally off the table. I just know that there's some other things I'm hoping Lionel will do that will also probably take $2,000 out of my pocket. And I'm just thinking, maybe I should just wait a little bit longer. But along that same lines about pricing, it's been an echo chamber about the price hikes. And I said tonight I was going to make a concerted effort to be positive with this catalog. And I'll continue with that, the pricing discussion where the Atlantics that are cataloged in here, those have whistle steam. So you get a scale steam locomotive with smoke and smoking whistle for $899. I think that's a pretty darn good price considering you're getting those two features. So, for all of the bad price hikes we saw, I agree. These and the Class A really aren't jacked up more than what we might be expecting or used to.
And it really fits in with this small steam engines that Lionel has been doing lately, like the 460 10-wheelers, the Camelbacks, the 280 consolidations, and now these SP Atlantics. It's great for people with smaller layouts, and it doesn't break the bank, but you still get all the great features that are in those bigger legacy engines. But
Absolutely.
I
Yeah, I was
think
gonna say, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Go for it,
RJ, you're
Chris.
spot on. I mean, I can't tell you how many folks, I mean, including myself, like, I think a lot of the Steam that's been out lately, it's just been big, or it's been all 054 or larger curves. And, you know, if we want to get high quality models out to the most amount of layouts, I think they did a good job this time of really diversifying the size of Steam. Just it's been sort of this, it's been all Northerns or bigger, you know, that it seems like lately. So I was happy to see all of these.
Yeah, I wanted to mention one thing. I said this in my kind of review of the catalog as well. As Lionel got pretty creative in this catalog with some of their toolings and just the paint schemes. There wasn't anything I think that was outrageous. I just think they're being creative and just trying to use what they have to make a product people want. Like these Atlantics are a combination of an SP tooling and I believe like a Mikado tender or a 10-wheeler tender, something like that. And it's creative is really what it is. They're just trying to give you a product that in the end will look good. And like you said, it's pretty inexpensive for a legacy steam engine.
It looks like Bob wants us to draw straws, guys. And then whoever draws the shortest straw has to buy Jason an engine. If I'm participating in that event, I will
Good
abstain.
deal.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not even asking for someone to buy me an engine. I'm just talking about offsetting that cost a little bit. You know. But Sid, I ran over and grabbed this. So you were talking about Timken, and I did intern with them back in college, and I did take a souvenir home with me. So one of the things we like in this hobby is our rotating bearing caps, because that's a pretty realistic feature. Well, I have in my hand a bearing cap, and if you look closely, it is Timken. And
That's cool.
These little things that we see spinning around on the very end caps, each one of these weighs like 20 pounds, 25 pounds. Like this thing's heavy. But yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
It's bigger than Jason's head.
Both literally and metaphorically.
You could probably trade that amount of steel in right now for a Class A, Jason.
Oh, that's a good idea. Price of scrap, pretty good right now, huh?
Sure is.
So moving on to another steam locomotive that I know stuck out to at least one of us in this catalog, and I think is going to be a trend of tonight, touching on some ex-MTH toolings, is the now Lionel rendition of the Santa Fe 210-4s. And I believe Mr. Chris Trains and Things is interested in one of them.
Absolutely. So these things are awesome. And those of you that follow my channel know I had the Legacy Pennsy J1A, and I ended up selling that to my buddy Bernsey over the summertime. And so since then, I've been trying to think of another big Pennsy steam locomotive to acquire. Now, the Pennsy locomotive in here is not prototypical, but Santa Fe 5022 and I believe also 5011 both were leased out to the Pennsy at different points. So, and I used to have Santa Fe 3751 way back in the day and sold that, and I just loved the classic look of those Santa Fe steamers, just the all black, the basic just Santa Fe with the number on the tender. So that one is number one on my list right now, is 5022 to order. If I only get one thing from this catalog, it will probably be that. Now, I say this right now at 8:24 on January 24th. We'll see what happens between now and February when we head down to Toy Trains and Collectibles and place our pre-orders next month. But that's number one on my list. That tooling's great. I love that they've got the whistle steam added onto it as well. And, it's just it's a great size, too. I mean, for my layout, I can run things on those 72 curves, which is what this is rated at. But at 30 and a half inches, it's right there. It's a little bit too long for my turntable, but it's going to look really nice with my collection. And I also love that they added the other caps for the stack also, like they did for the Northerns a few years back. They added all those different caps for the smokestack, which is pretty neat also. So I'm excited for this one. And then obviously there's the other options. They've got the black bonnet, which has been really popular. And then the Kansas City with the War Bonds tenders. We know the War Bond tenders have sold really well for Lionel. And it just adds some more color to your layout too. So there's some options here. You don't want to just go all black Santa Fe like I'm thinking.
What's wrong with having an all-black engine roster?
So Toby in the chat says that RBP needs the black bonnet 210-4, the triple head with the 210-10-2 and the Northern.
There you go.
You never know. I just may. I wasn't planning on it, but I really enjoyed running the 210-10-2 and the Northern together. So anything is possible.
And so a more general question for you guys. How do you guys feel about the reintroduction of MTH toolings as a whole in the Lionel line? Do you see it as a good thing, or is Lionel price gouging with the new toolings? How do you guys see it? Because there are a lot of opinions out there in the universe on the MTH by Lionel.
Let's let Mr. MTH himself go first.
Oh boy. Well, would I rather see them cataloged as opposed to never seen again and destroyed? I'd rather see them cataloged. I think the steel coil cars are what really kind of took me by surprise or kind of shocked me. I know everyone's talking about the bobber caboose, which, yes, I mean, spending over $100 for a bobber caboose is pretty difficult to wrap my head around. But I have a lot of steel cars on my layout. Most of them are either MTH or Atlas. And I think it's just hard for me to think about being able to buy them for $50 to $60 only a couple of years ago, and to see the price tags on them now is it's a lot to swallow. Not to say I don't think that they're nice pieces. MTH does have a really nice tooling, so it's good that Lionel got it, and I'm glad they're making some, and I hope they do some unique steel company road names that haven't been done already. Most of the ones in this one, like Atlas does a Bethlehem steel car, and we've seen BNSF and UP. So, I mean, I'm glad that Lionel's got some MTH tooling and they're actually making it. It's just, I don't know, man. I can't be the only one who thinks that that's a lot of money for a steel coil car, but
I'll go next. What, Chris?
Oh no, I was just gonna say, but Jason, would it make you feel better if they had that guy that does all the voices for Lionel and he's like, conductor checked his watch again. Must be time to go.
yeah.
Come on, you know? Anybody who collects MTH has heard that about 400 million times, right? The conductor checked his watch again. Sounds like
Conductor's giving us a highball signal.
I don't know what that has to do with the price of trains, but okay. Okay. I never said MTH was perfect. I mean, just because I have lots of MTH engines, I don't think MTH is perfect. None of them are perfect.
I'll give my quick opinion on that. So the first thing is I like that they're keeping the tooling alive, especially the unique ones like some of the engines and some of the passenger cars, and the coil cars are of course unique as well. I would hope they got some of the really weird steam engines like a triplex and things like that, but we won't know until they actually catalog them. Mm-hmm. But I do think they're messing around with the prices a little, especially on the smaller things. Like those 210-4s are actually priced pretty reasonably for a pretty decent sized legacy steam engine, but the smaller items like the 060, which is a cobbled together of MTH and Lionel tooling, and then I think I saw a comment about the passenger cars. The passenger cars are a little pricey. I think they went up since the last catalog. RJ, correct me if I'm wrong on that one. But it's just a lot of money for two passenger cars or four, however many it was. But in general, I'm happy that Lionel's keeping the tooling that is very unique alive.
Yeah, like I said, I'd rather see the tooling continue to live in any medium than just be destroyed or disappeared.
Yeah.
I also think that it's important to point out here that MTH was created out of Mike Wolf's hatred of Lionel And there are all the stories out there of like Mike Wolf almost fighting Lionel at a York and that kind of stuff. And at the end of the day, Lionel did not pay the same price for the toolings that Atlas did for the XMTH toolings. And that I don't know that officially. That's more of a hunch.
I was going to say, it's becoming like a talk show now.
But
I'm
sure that's why you have some higher prices on the XMTH stuff than you normally would like to see.
Yeah,
well, how much does the lack of options play into it now too? I mean,
Yep,
we
definitely
talked about that together the other day. Just a smaller pool of competition can maybe obviously inflation's part of it, but you might have a little more power to price it. We see it all over the various industries these days, like automotive, for example, right now. I mean, that's maybe a little different, but you're seeing prices go up on just about everything.
Yeah.
Well, again, I'm curious, if people watching, like, what do you think? I mean, there's not a lot of competition for Lionel right now, right? We have some runs that MTH is doing, and they're good, right? Mainly dealer sponsored in some cases. And then, of course, Menards, which keeps re-releasing that Santa Fe, sneaks it out 3.5, 3.7, 3.9.
Like an iPhone update.
And again, I think, if Menards gets into the market, and they will, that's going to drive costs down. I think we're going to see some better pricing around the board. But it is, I think we're in an interesting time right now. Lionel is the game in town, right? And one thing I do know, and I think it's going to drive a lot of excitement, not just with this catalog, but with the catalog that'll come out later this year and then next year, is that we're not going to see all of these MTH acquisitions at one time. They're going to roll these out over a number of years. So, I mean, who knows? We might be fortunate enough to get a Vision Line Dreyfus one day. And if we do, I'm going to fall out of my chair. But, there's all kinds of possibilities. So I say at this point, just sit back and enjoy the ride, because there's going to be a lot of cool things coming down the pike.
And I think that also when we look down through the catalogs, obviously, just with where we're at, prices are higher in general. But then some of the things they didn't raise their prices on quite as much when you look at those calculations. So I was surprised the ES44s weren't necessarily higher than they are. But it's just kind of the way that this all goes. So either way, there's a lot of great options in here, and I'm excited for that 210-4. And there's some other options for those that have a smaller layouts or a smaller budget also. So what else is there? What else are you guys interested in? Let's get back to the motive power piece here.
We've been pestering Jason for long enough here, and I think we finally flipped to what he's interested in the catalog, motive power wise.
Let's see it.
Well,
as I try to do a grand reveal and I didn't have the page pulled up. It's all right. I'm a bad YouTuber, guys.
Unsubscribe.
Yeah.
Move over to Christmas Strange and Things. There it is.
Yeah.
Wait.
There it is.
Okay.
Oh, we got a lot to talk about on this page. About on this page.
So, can I have the floor for a second?
Go for it, Jason.
Zoom in, RJ.
All right.
All you, MTH.
It's for me, it's where to begin, because zoom out for a second. RJ,
oh, okay. I'm
you
sorry.
don't mind.
I'm sorry. There we go.
Because we have two really, what I think are two really beautiful models. One obviously sticks out way more than the other. And one of these ABs is the one that I'm considering as being my first legacy engine. And
any guesses which one that is?
Yeah, any guess on who's going to get
the pink one or the one that looks like Norfolk Southern
and
engine?
Who's the one that's going to get the black and gray boring one? Well, obviously, RBP has talked about getting the pink and yellow one, or it's not really pink and yellow. It's like
that's fuchsia and gold.
But that Reading and Northern is the one that I'm seriously considering. And I'm a little torn because Pat Strains is also doing one in MTH. So there's pros and cons to both. And maybe everyone in the chat section can help me out here, because pros of MTH, it's going to be a little cheaper. It's DCS, so obviously I like using that with everything else that I have, which is DCS. And they'll probably get the colors and the finish right. I don't necessarily have to worry about that. The cons is MTH's tooling isn't really that true to an F9, and it doesn't have quite as many features as this Lionel one might have. The legacy version, on the other hand, both the AB have smoke units, Super Bass B unit, which would be something brand new for me besides just being a legacy engine. And they do have pretty correct F9 tooling. The downside is it's way more expensive. And sorry, Lionel, but your colors are a bit iffy sometimes. Is the shade of black and gray going to be correct? Is it going to be a gloss finish? I don't really know. So it's a bit of a gamble there as well. So that's kind of what I'm juggling with. And if you don't know already, both of these, the two A's and the two B's, are the former Norfolk Southern OCS F9s. So Norfolk Southern sold them. Very disappointing for me. But they at least went to a couple of really good homes. They're used and taken care of and babied. I'm glad they went to a good home. So it only makes sense that I would add one of these to my very Norfolk Southern-y layout, because they are former NS engines. So, not sure what to do.
You're gonna do it. Everyone knows it. And
we could collab, Chris. We could do a collab video. We could get your Aberdeen Carolinas together with the Reading and Northern, and it's like the Norfolk Southern OCS trains back together again.
Oh yeah, I'm all about this pink train. I mean, it's ordered and done, ready to go. First thing, knee-jerk reaction. When I opened that page and saw that thing, I was like, that's it. That's the one.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I don't blame you. It was pretty actually. It was bouncing between number 2 and number 3 on my list for a couple days there too. It's nice.
I don't know what it is. I mean, there's just so much. It jumps off the page, and there's almost something NPC about it to me.
Yeah, and then they hid my Reading and Northerns in a little corner down in the bottom left. I'm like, come on, those are pretty too.
If it makes you feel any better, Jason, about the whole finish, you could always email Ryan Kunkel and request a gloss finish. Then you'll have everything you want.
You know, if Ryan, you know what? If Ryan could guarantee that it's going to be a gloss finish, I think that's sold right there.
Ooh. Looks like we know what needs to happen now.
Well, I'm doing my part, Jason. So.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got his end of the park, and it's just up to you to bite the truth.
Well, if I don't get it, Chris, then you have to get it.
Oh.
No, I mean, it makes sense to me.
So someone said it's actually purple, and you're probably right. I may be colorblind. You know,
It's like a pinkish purple.
It's like, I'm telling you, it's like fuchsia.
Yeah.
That's the color.
It's probably not yellow. It's probably maize. You're a Michigan.
I've seen one of their passenger cars sitting in the station here in DC, and it's a pinkish purple. I don't know. There's no good way to describe it.
Okay.
It's
so I can still call it the pink train as long as I can do that, RJ, that's the
magenta.
big
Matthew helped us out with that. Magenta. That's the
well,
color.
you know, with Lionel, it's going to end up being hot pink like the girls' steamer. So
the Aberdeen something to something, or as Chris calls it, the pink train.
yeah, you can pretend it's Aberdeen, Maryland.
Yeah. So that's excellent. So where we go next from here? I mean, catalog highlights.
So
those are my two things. It's the pink train and the control system. So what else is everybody?
We would be remiss not to mention our good friend Burnsy.
Ooh, SW1s.
SW1s, another former MTH tooling, but our buddy Burnsy, he's a big fan of some short line railroads in his neck of the woods in Pennsylvania. And he's working with Mr. Muffins to do a custom run of the SW1s for the West Shore Railroad. So he's taken the time tonight to moderate the chat, which I appreciate him doing. So if you guys are interested, it's a cool looking Pennsylvania Railroad-ish SW1. And Lionel is also offering a bunch of great road names here.
So check that out up in the site.
The switchers are always popular.
Mhm.
Is Dak Man on this chat? I saw Conrail. There you go.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
continuing through the diesels, I'm gonna jump over a couple now. The SD40-2s with the Tiger Stripe Burlington Northern is pretty slick. I do like that. But we're gonna go ahead and just jump right on over to those and go all the way back to. Let's see here.
All right, let's go, Chris. I'm
Rocket
flipping through the
train.
catalog. The rocket train. All right, let's go to that.
You knew that's where I was going.
Rocket train.
Where's the Elton John Rocket Man? You know?
Spending all my money on
Yes.
trains
I will.
tonight.
If I get this, I'm going to be playing Rocket Man by Elton John and Starman by David Bowie on loop
And I
for
think
a
it's
week
gonna
in
be
my
a
basement.
long, long time to save enough money to buy this train.
Sleeping on the couch
It's
until
gonna be
then.
awesome. But this thing's sweet, and we all know that the MTH rocket trains are almost impossible to find, and when you do, they're $1,900 on eBay, and it comes with a Dash 8 with broken ditch lights. So this thing's absolutely massive. You have 12 cars plus an ES44, which is awesome because that's listing for $699, I believe, in the catalog itself, and you get this entire thing with the cars that actually have the rocket for, I believe it's $1699, which is a pretty big chunk of change. But this is an absolutely massive train. And then, of course, you can build the rocket, which is just that much cooler. And then you can get more add-on cars. Or if you don't want the ES44, you can just buy a pack of the rocket cars with or without the rocket and build your own train, which gives you some more options. And you can save about $250 if you just build your own train without the ES44. So this is neat. This is number 2 on my list behind the Santa Fe. So we'll see. If I can swing 2, then this might be the one that I go with. If I can't swing 2, then I have to make up my mind of which I'm going with. But this is pretty neat.
They should include a little figure of Elon Musk with it.
I was going to say, can you launch the rocket? You know, you need to create an area of your layout where the train travels and then offloads the rocket. You know, something you got to create like a big beach scene, little Cape Canaveral action going on. Of course,
Well,
I don't even know
Chris, technically you can launch anything. So challenge accepted.
Good. Everybody be looking out for a video next year when he gets this train because he's going to do it. Like he keeps saying, I might not. He's going to get it. He'll just.
Yeah.
He'll say
We're going to be standing there in the
25
store. We're going to be standing there in the store. And he's going to hear the price. And he's like, might as well. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. Oh, YOLO, yeah.
It's the rocket. My son can play with the rocket. It's for him.
It's for the kids.
It's for the kids.
Yeah. Someone says, yeah, put an Estes model on there.
There you go. Absolutely, we could do that.
maybe Lionel should make a rocket sounds car, like a box car or the passenger car with sounds in it, so you can simulate your rocket launch.
That would be cool if they would have put if they would have made a sound box car for one of the idler cars, because this train is so long. If they would have put a sound car, you could put that in the back. That would have been really neat, actually.
Yeah.
I might have to have someone customize that by gutting another one.
You should call a guy named Sid and have him fix it up for you.
There you go.
Yeah, I heard he's really good at working on model trains. What else have we been looking at in this catalog?
Can we go to the ES44s, please?
Yes, Jason. We
Well,
can.
Some sharp
I'm
there.
the one who's controlling the catalog right now. So, yes, Jason.
That
we
was like
can.
he didn't want to say it, but he did.
Well, okay. So
Let's talk about it, Jason. Tell us how
let's
you
talk
feel.
about it, because actually what all right, so I'm trying to be really positive, and so I will say something positive first. I think that the BNSF 25th anniversary paint scheme is going to sell really well. I think MTH's sold out really quickly and people loved it, and I already know a lot of people want to get that engine. I think it's going to do really well. I do have a complaint though, and it's not just for Lionel. It's for MTH and Atlas. All of these heritage paint schemes here on this page, these are not correct. Not the schemes, the engines themselves. GE and EMD have tier 4 locomotives now. And I know like people are like, oh, stop being such a rivet counter. but I don't think this is really qualifies me as a rivet counter, because if you had a steam locomotive that has, let's say, the wrong style tender for that engine, I mean, most guys would be throwing their arms up. But MTH, Lionel, and Atlas, as far as I can tell, have not made any new toolings for Tier 4 EMD or GE engines. I understand tooling is very expensive to, produce, but there's a whole new tier of diesel locomotives out there that are probably going to be around for the next 15 to 20 years, if not longer. So, HO did it immediately within probably the first year, most of those companies. That doesn't mean that these are going to come out bad or no one's going to buy them. I think the target audience here is modern railroaders, and most of them want pretty accurate models. So I guess that's, again, like some people will say, stop taking it so seriously. But, if you look at the prices on these, I mean, the ET44 is the Tier 4 locomotive, and it has pretty distinguishable difference with a huge rear vent, almost like a big camelback vent. Like, it is a very distinguishable locomotive. And the same goes with the, if you go a couple more pages to I think it's the Canadian Pacific heritage units that are cataloged as SD90 Max. It's the same thing. The EMD now makes an SD70 ACE T4, and it is very different. It is not an SD90 Mac, I can tell you that. And Lionel is so close. They're so close. If they took this SD90 Mac tooling and they just swapped that cab for an SD70 ACE cab, boom, they're pretty much done. That's a Tier 4 SD70 T4 right there. So, I mean, again, I'm sorry if I'm coming across so negative, but it's not just a critique on Lionel. MTH has cataloged the same thing and delivered the same thing. So if you're one of these manufacturers and you're listening to me, please update the tooling. It would be much appreciated. End rant. I think these are still going to sell really well because they're such gorgeous paint schemes, and I think they're going to look really impressive on anybody's layout who buys them. The end.
So that's it.
You can add, if you couldn't tell, I've been thinking about that for a while.
You have been. No, and that's fair. I think it's fair for people to understand that. Looking, not to give people a headache going back and forth in the catalog, but the ES44 ACs, overlooking that piece from someone who has no idea what Jason was just talking about. I just like the trains. The ones that stand out to me on here that are great.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. SD70 ACUs. Sorry, Chris. Somebody corrected me in the comments.
Gotcha. Yeah. Back to the ES44s, the Armed Forces one that's like the stealth fighter, that paint scheme is sharp. That is really cool. If they can get the actual model to come out looking like that, that'll be really, really nice. And then if I was to order one of these, and I already have an ES44 and I love it, but I'm not going to order a new one, it would be between the Armed Forces one or the EJ&E Heritage. That bright orange with the green J logo that's really sharp. That one stands out to me on here. I'm glad to see they did more EJ&E after they did the Sharks last summer. Those things were really nice when they came out. I know our buddy Matt R from West Chicago Model Railroad got those, and they're really nice to see. So that's a sharp looking locomotive to me.
Well, Chris, you could order the Rocket Train set, and then you get a Union Pacific ES44.
Yeah, that would be very nice to have for the Pennsylvania Pacific Railroad here. So
I just like that. I like that turbo noise they put on those. Like when it's just kind of sitting there, like rolling slow, and you hear that. I mean, that noise is so cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they came out with the non-powered units for these. I'm kind of disappointed they didn't come out with a super base for them like they did in the last catalog for some of the non-powered modern diesels. Would have been kind of neat. I think they would have sold better than just a non-powered unit for $400.
Yeah, those super base units are slick. I mean, those are great.
I think that Lionel explained this on Matt podcast and on the Ryan and Dave live stream. And the reason why they didn't do Super Base B units, specifically in these models, is that if you're a collector of the Canadian National, you're going to want to get as many of these as possible. And that extra $150 for the super base unit being installed in it does add up over time. And there is also a large segment of people who just buy the non-powered version to put on display, like people in their office, and they don't ever run it. So I think that's the market that Lionel is trying to reach with the non-powered over the super base units. But all right, so we talked about everything but one diesel locomotive in the two, but three. But since I'm Mr. Amtrak, I wanted to talk about the F40s for just a little bit here. So it's really nice to see these being reintroduced back into the line. I explained this in my own catalog review, but I promised myself that I wouldn't model anything Amtrak pre-2011 because I would go bankrupt. So fortunately enough, I'm not going to be ordering any of these powered units. But when you look at the price of these when they first came out in 2016 compared to what they are now plus inflation, they're actually about the same, a little less than what they were in 2016. And you're getting all the new modern electronics on the inside, which is really nice. But what I am going to be ordering is one of these cabbage units, the Phase 5 cabbage unit.
Why do they call it a cabbage unit?
Okay.
The
So,
baggage cab unit.
yep. So inside
Awesome.
it has a cab area so the engineer can control the train. This way they don't have to turn it around when it reaches the end of the line. They ripped all the innards inside of it, so it's now just a baggage car with this control area.
Oh,
Cab plus baggage.
Did not know that.
Cabbage.
No.
I had no idea.
Are they making any with I forgot the name, as a ghetto guard or whatever they call it, where it's like the screening over the front windows? Are they doing any of those this time or no?
I know that those weren't prototypical for the NPCUs. Another word for the cabbage. Sorry
Uh-huh.
for being so technical.
No,
But it doesn't look
I've seen
like
people
it.
refer to cabbage units on Instagram and on other reviews, and I was just like, I don't know what it is. So I figured,
Yeah,
Kinda
cabbage
helps
is
me.
like cabbage
Right,
is
right.
like the cool word that, like, oh, you know what you're talking about. You're calling it a cabbage. 'cause
Yeah,
that's
you
the cool word.
gotta stay on that CSX business train there, because even me, as not being a big CSX fan, that's a gorgeous business train, and I thought for sure Atlas would include this paint scheme, but they
So did
didn't.
I. Yeah.
So I hope all the CSX fans out there, I hope there's some people who buy this whole set, because I'd love to see one. That B&O paint scheme on CSX cars and an engine, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. CSX went from having not really a cool business train to probably the coolest business train in the U.S. I think that's a beautiful set.
I would agree with that. And then there's some customs of these coming out too, right, RJ?
Yes. So we've gotten one custom, and it is through the Metropolitan Division of the TCA, METCA, and they're doing the Panama Canal Railway F40, which is it's actually a subsidiary of the Kansas City Southern. So it's in Kansas City Southern colors, and it's used for passenger services as well as hauling intermodal trains along the Panama Canal in Panama. So really cool to be seeing that, and they're still using them today in Panama, which is pretty fascinating.
That's a pretty sharp looking unit. I like that one. This catalog came out, we kind of figured that these were going to be in it, and then the ski train was going to be in it as well. I was contemplating before the catalog came out if that was in it, that I would buy the ski train engine to go with my Rio Grande passenger cars that I picked up back last November. But I don't think it would match, and so I decided to those are actually sold today finally, but I had to pass up on those. But the ski train's really neat. I love the yellow, and obviously you could have started chipping away at this if you were smart in the last catalog. I believe it was volume 2 last year. They had the initial ski train offering, so you could start collecting those passenger cars well ahead of time, which was which was nice. And now there's a couple different offerings for the engines or 2 road numbers, which is neat too.
There was actually a comment about on lots of these pages it says new product or all new product.
Yeah.
And
Hold on. I'll pull it up.
just to clarify for that, I forgot who it was, and just people in general.
Russian spy on you.
There you go. To clarify, I think what Lionel is saying with that is lots of these the toolings themselves are years and years like from the past, like those Atlantics and stuff like that. But I think what they say here, like with the ski train, they've never really done this paint scheme, so that's why they're calling it a new product. It's new to their line, but it's just the paint scheme, not the tooling itself.
Yeah,
That's
and
good
we see that a lot throughout the entirety of the catalog. Everything's a new product.
Yeah.
I know there are a couple of pieces of rolling stock, like the rotary gondolas, coal cars that Jason loves so much. Those aren't new because they were technically in the last catalog.
Well, they also recatalogued, I think, the ski train 4-pack at the bottom with the observation.
I think the passenger cars to go with the ski train, these are the same. They're the same exact ones. If you go to your local hobby store and you ask for these, they already have them in stock. They've already shipped to dealers and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
I will say I do love me some Lionel coal cars. I've went from 0 to about over 60 in the last year. So for all the hate I get on not getting legacy diesels, I think I make up for it in my rolling stock because I think I buy more Lionel rolling stock than anything else.
Here. And yeah, these are the coal cars we've been referencing that were actually in the previous catalog.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised no one's commented yet about that Norfolk Southern 40th anniversary set.
So, Jason, do you want to address that now and why you don't like it, just so we can get it out of the way?
Whoa, hey now, come on. I didn't say I didn't like it. It's not for me personally because it's a fantasy scheme and I'm not really into the fantasy stuff. But I will say, looking at that ES44 on front, at first I kind of like laughed at it, and then I looked at it some more and I'm like, if Norfolk Southern ever wanted to kind of change up their paint scheme, that's a pretty damn good looking paint scheme. Like it's just the Southern, tuxedo paint scheme, but I think it looks pretty darn good if I'm honest.
You would look cool next to your office car special.
Yeah, there you go.
Black and white, baby.
That's right. I mean, it's not a bad looking set. It's just it's just not for me because of the fantasy aspect. But it's pretty sharp looking, I think.
I think that boxcar would be cool if they did separate sale of that.
Is that an
Have the
illuminated
light.
one? I didn't check.
Yeah, it's lighted. The stars are lighted on the flag.
That's cool. Yeah, that's a cool car. Yeah, you're right. If they sold that separately, even though I'm not into the fantasy stuff, I feel like I'd be tempted to buy that.
Yeah, and it looks like they did some other cool things with the cars in the set, like the Husky stacks look to have a Conrail logo on them, and the bay window caboose has a Southern logo on it.
Mm-hmm.
So they're paying homage to the Norfolk Southern's heritage.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So, can we go to one of the silent best things in this catalog, RJ? Do you know which one I'm talking about? A little bit further back.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about because I know that at least 3 of us are excited for this.
Yes. So flipping the catalog, I typically, when I did my quick review, I ended up stopping before getting to the Lion Chief stuff, but the Doodlebug is here. Rail King tooling is my understanding, with smoke added to it, and 4 options here. They're all fantastic. I think
there's actually 6 options.
Oh, there is 6 options. You're right. So I personally, I like the Pensy or the UP option. I'm probably going to end up getting the Santa Fe war bonnet because it's for the kids. And I know that a couple other guys are getting the other ones, so we can run them together.
Yeah.
There is no doubt in my mind this will be one of the best-selling things from this catalog.
100%.
It's, I think a lot of folks are lined up to get one. I mean, those of you watching, if you're getting one, shout out which one you're getting, because I definitely have heard a lot about this. And it's one of those things where, and I learn a lot just from listening to other people and seeing what they get excited about. Like, I flipped right through this thing and went right past it. And then I started hearing about it, and I went back and looked at it and then read up on it. And it is an interesting, I don't know, is it called a locomotive? What is the thing? Bud car? I mean, I don't know. It's so, I mean, it sounds like a fishing lure, the Doodlebug.
So in it, I said that there were 6. So in addition to the 4 that you see in front of you, they're also doing a Christmas one and a Halloween one. And then those will have the corresponding Christmas and Halloween sounds that Lionel's been putting in those engines. So I know Sid's going to get one. You want to talk about that?
I have to just thank Lionel for putting Maryland on the side of a train. Like, this never happens, ever. So thank you. It also says Pennsylvania, but it says Maryland. So yes, I'll be getting the green one, which is Maryland and Pennsylvania. That's local to me, of course. So got to get it.
And I will be getting the Pennsylvania Railroad one because the Long Island Railroad was owned by the Pennsylvania Railroad, and they actually used two Pennsylvania Railroad Doodlebugs painted up in the Pennsylvania on Long Island for many years. So it wouldn't be all that far off from having one of those running alongside one of my Long Island Railroad ones. So RBP, are you going to get one too? We can quadruple head these along with our Vision Line Class A's.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have to get one. I mean, I like hype. Whenever every time somebody gets excited about something, I have to do it. So
imagine if 5 of us got these.
Ooh.
Yeah, you're asking too much there.
Yeah. We've got a better chance of him getting a Vision Line Class A than a Doodlebug.
Our buddy Matty C said that these are the next 06 OTs, which is probably true.
I think that's a solid
those things were cataloged. I don't know how many people pre-ordered them, but I remember I came across one when I was in my out in Altoona going through some stores and ended up picking one up. And then it felt like it was like a domino effect of like everyone would snatch them up right away, right around the same month. And those things are fantastic with the Lion Chief 2.0. So if these things are half as much fun as those little guys are, then they're going to be a knockout hit for sure.
Yep, and I agree.
And these things have smoke. This is an ex-MTH Rail King tooling, and MTH never offered these with smoke. So first time that they're going to be offered with smoke. And Lionel is creating an all-new sound set for these engines because they were gas-powered. So they're doing a gas-powered engine sound set in these. So it's going to be very unique sounding. And I agree. I think this is going to be the next 060. There may not be a lot of guys who pre-order these, but when they come and you're going to start seeing videos of them on everybody's channels, I think they're going to start selling quick.
I hope they put like a cool dialogue set in it. That would
I hope so.
Dispatcher, time to go. And I hope.
Waiting on a clear.
I do have to praise Lionel for just LC 2.0 in general because I've heard those 060Ts and they sound fantastic. Like they have about every pitch of whistle you can think of, even ones that'll probably like break some glass in your house. But they're nice engines. They're especially when they're, I'd say, unique or kind of scale. Like these are Rail King, of course, but they'll look really good, and it's almost like Lionel's caught up in the sense that it's the bridging the gap with their higher end products. They sound like them, they run like them. They're just a little more inexpensive, and of course, not all of them are scale. Those 060Ts were scale, so that was really cool.
Yeah,
I'm excited to hear this new sound set.
Well,
Yeah,
you mentioned Lion Chief, so we're an hour into this stream. Is it time to talk about the biggest news of the catalog, which is the new control system? Do we dare go there now?
I guess.
Well,
I guess so.
How about we talk about one more product that's in this traditional section?
I know what he's going for.
And then we will wrap up by
More
our long
Amtrak.
debate. Nope, I'm not even going to touch Amtrak because I'm not purchasing anything. I have my MTH Premier amp fleets. I have my Premier.
Actually, wait. Go back.
Thomas,
I
let's
want
talk about Thomas.
go back to this. I have to mention
the S2 words.
I have to mention. I just have to mention that this is the Bantam tooling. I got like a million messages asking if this was brand spanking new. No, this is the old MTH Bantam tooling, and I really hope it doesn't chuff. It should just have a constant stream of sound and smoke. I just had to mention that because I got a bunch of messages on various platforms.
I also like how they put it on an American Flyer track.
That is fun.
All right. Lionel, I love your products in your catalog. I'm just teasing you. All right. So.
Oh, your Monsters Inc. car, yes.
Yeah. Because Kristen and I are children.
It's epic. I love it.
And
cool.
so I didn't realize this until I was listening to the Matt O-Scale podcast. The lights on the side of it are sound activated. So the more noise there is, the more full the light bar looks on the side. The more full the light bar is on the side. So it
So
obviously
if I
is not
my
scale.
Kids come in the room, it's gonna explode.
It's the perfect magnet to have your kids scream in front of the train.
That is pretty.
Yeah, that's exactly what we want. It's a high scoring contest, which is not what I need.
What about,
But,
about the trippy trolley? I mean,
Yep. This is something that I'm going to be tricked into buying.
So I'm also ordering that tank car. Very unique.
Yes, I'm going to be ordering that tank car as well. I think it'll be a nice little fun piece. Speaking about rocket launching, the return of the Lionel rocket launcher.
Yeah, with control. That's pretty awesome.
See, there you go, Chris. It's going on your layout with your rocket booster train.
If you're under 21, close your eyes. Graffiti train set. I know our buddy Evan at Toy Trains and Collectibles, he's looking at this one.
Right.
Cool to see that they're bringing the graffiti cars into the traditional line.
National lines? Interesting.
Well, UP would throw a fit if they tried graffitiing another train again. Trippy trolley. Here we go, Jason.
Oh, the
I
trippy
got a
trolley.
few
This
friends
one
that
is.
might like a trippy trolley.
I'm probably gonna have. This might be my first trolley. This is just great.
Yes, trolleys. We need more trolleys on YouTube.
It's that underglow. It's that neon underglow that really is like.
So the lights change color.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's so
It's
cool.
just not going to be that neon blue. It's going to flip back and forth between all these other colors.
I know I'm not a fantasy guy, but like that thing was just too fun.
You can just stick that on your upper loop towards the left-hand side of your layout on the conventional.
This is JD Stuck's first Lionel piece. Here it is.
That'd be a fan favorite though. Like I bet I'd get lots of hits on YouTube, and everyone would love that thing.
Put a disco ball above your layout.
That's right. I should drop it right down where that trolley goes.
Saturday Night Fever.
You don't think I will?
Jason's
Like,
layout.
Bust out the mamas and the papas.
You're giving me some good ideas. $129.99. This. I might surprise you all one day. I might do a whole little video sketch.
This is my hour-long detailed review of the Trippy Trolley.
It was just going to be an hour long of me dancing in front of the camera wearing bell bottoms and this thing going in circles.
That would be.
It's going to be like one of those
quite the show.
TikTok dance marathons that people do where they just dance for like 24 hours.
So the big
Right.
the big topic
There
of
we
discussion,
The
I
bridge,
say,
the bridge itself.
All right, now the chat is going to go wild with their varying opinions. So, Chris, you wanted to talk about this? Let's hear your opinion first.
Well, I'll tell you, this has been, I think, the biggest topic of the entire catalog. Normally these catalogs come out and it's all about the Vision Line engine, but that one was almost overshadowed by this announcement. Between a mixture of excitement or concern or questions or what will it do and what will it not do, and we saw that in the past when the other control systems came out. But it's been a long time since Lionel has debuted any new control. Sid, when did Legacy come out?
Legacy, I actually was grabbing this because I knew this topic was going to come up. So Legacy came out in 2006, and it was announced with the JLC Big Boy. It was like the big thing of that year, kind of like this.
Sure. So there you have it. I mean, and even when I told my dad about this, he's like, "Oh, I don't know. I can't control trains with my phone." And I'm like, "Dad, stop! I think you're jumping off the ledge too fast." I'm like, "Your controller is going to work. It just if it breaks, it's going to be Lionel's only going to support it till they run out of parts, and you can still get the other controller. So if you really want to have that handheld remote, you can."
That
But
Big Boy was sold with Legacy, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Speaking of that
It
Cab
came-
2, like you got a Legacy system with that Big Boy. That
Yeah.
Wow.
And then with the Vision Line one, you got that piece of track and the Wi-Fi unit, if I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken.
Yep.
But I know for one, using the app is a bit of a process, and there's a curve there, and I think there's a way to do it, and there's a way to not do it. And talking to some of the other guys the other day, I think the success is going to come from dedicating some sort of tablet to your system. Now, not that anybody wants to hear that. Well, Chris is telling me to go out and buy an iPad, but when you use a phone, you're going to get phone calls or text messages or whatever, and it's going to interrupt your control. And I think you just need to have a dedicated surface to run it. And I do think the app gives us a lot of great features, and it's going to give us a lot more agility around development. Because when you have a controller, even though we're very used to this and it's great, I love this thing, and I'm going to use mine as long as I can.
Yeah.
But there's a finite number of options to do here. Whereas with a screen, I can then create more granular control. Like anybody who owns these legacy engines, sometimes if you turn the volume down and you go to turn it back up, your blend volume doesn't come back up. It happens every now and then. If you're in the app, you can control that. You just pick blend volume and you push it up. And I think there's just a lot of things like that over time, it'll become easier. But I understand the growing pains as well.
So
I, for one, am excited about this thing. I think it's going to be really cool.
I see a couple people in the live chat asking why Lionel didn't just redevelop the Cab 2, and I think there are two answers to that. And first, Ryan discussed on a bunch of different programs that the Cab 2 remote was designed in 2007, and the parts to make it are obsolete, and it cost Lionel more to make the Cab 2 now than it did previously because the companies that produce the parts for it aren't making the parts for it anymore. So they can't keep making Cab 2s without it being stupid, very expensive. And second is that those are now by having a remote, it's parts that Lionel needs to keep in stock and do warranty repairs on. Meanwhile, by just having the Cab 3, you can just have your phone, and it's one less thing that Lionel needs to worry about. I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm saying that's probably just two reasons why Lionel is going more towards this Cab 3. And they're still making the Cab 1L remote if you still want to have the physical remote in your hand.
Yeah, I think that the ease of being able to push the updates out too. I mean, this goes right along with everything here. Updating these systems is kind of always a pain in the butt, especially if it's the first time you're doing it. I had to go get like a little Windows netbook so I could actually do this because I had a Mac at the time. I couldn't figure out how to run the update on my legacy system. So they'll just be able to push out, background updates to these apps, and that's going to make your life easy because you don't have to actually do an update to your system, which is beneficial. It'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. I mean, I've got my legacy system for now. I would like to get this at some point in time. It probably won't be this catalog just because of some other things that I really like. Maybe just wait until there's a catalog where there's nothing that I want, which will probably never happen, and then maybe try to pick one up then. But I know my buddy Chris is going to get one, so I can go explore it down with him and see how it works out. It's an interesting idea, and it's change is always difficult. People are always attached to what I think back to when Command Control came out, and I'm sure if we could go back to YouTube videos then that never existed, people were complaining that it's not the same as just moving the throttles back and forth on the transformer. This is just how these things cycle every 15 to 20 years, and we're just happen to be in the middle of that change right now. And in 5 years, we won't even probably realize or think about these conversations about how difficult this might or might not be.
And the whole unification of the different types of control systems. I have a variety of different sets. I know a lot of people do. Whether it's a Lion, like maybe first generation Lion Chief or 2.0, or if you have everything up through Legacy. I mean, being able to run all that together in one platform is really going to be nice. And there's limitations of the Bluetooth control when you're trying to run multiple Lion Chief engines. If you click off one, the other one stops. Some of that kind of stuff, and that's all going away with this, right? There's a lot more flexibility.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on the universal aspect of it. Is people have been asking for Lionel to unify their line. I made a video on my channel talking about how Lion Chief had changed Lionel's line. They went from just having no middle ground product to having kind of separate lines, which was the starter sets, then the Lion Chief Plus products, and then the Legacy products. The issue was there was no way to control them all from the same product. This is even better. It combines the Legacy, TMCC, Lion Chief Plus, Lion Chief Plus 2.0, and of course Flyer Chief, which is just American Flyer's version of Lion Chief, and that allows you to run everything from the Cab 3 app, or people take a step back and read closely or listen to Ryan and Dave. You can still use this with it. You can still use not the Cab 1, but the Cab 1L, which you see on the screen. It looks just like a Cab 1, but just doesn't have the antenna because it's a newer controller. You can still use these older controllers, and it basically actually makes the Lionel 993 expansion pack worth something. Lionel's made these expansion packs for years, and they've been on the market forever.
That's a great point. Yeah.
And now they're worth something. Why would I buy another?
They stop making them. They're worth something.
Yeah. Why would you buy a second Legacy controller if you already have one? Well, now you don't need the old base. All you need is the controller. So you buy the 993 and this base, and then you can control everything from one thing. And if you like the app, then just use the app. You don't have to use your real phone. You can use an iPad or another phone, whatever you have. And I'm just saying that because I'm giving Lionel the benefit of the doubt on this one. I have nothing wrong with this. They're responding in the same way MTH did with their Wi-Fi. And just recently, there was a post on a certain platform about MTH R&D, and it's possible that MTH is going to re-release a new remote.
I'm reading it right now. They just announced it 3 hours ago.
Yep. They're going to make a new remote, so don't get too bummed. Lionel could come out with a new Legacy controller. We just don't know yet.
I was, before I even saw this announcement on here, I was going to say, well, first of all, it took me 15 years to get this darn thing. So, I finally just got it, and now I have to get a new one. So I just can't win, But I agree with everything you said. I think it's a big plus for Lionel. I was an early adopter of MTH's Wi-Fi system, but I've used MTH so much. I'll probably end up with this system eventually, but I'm definitely not going to be a first mover for the Cab 3. But I will say this, with the DCS Wi-Fi, I have a dedicated phone down here for it. I don't have it on my main phone because, like you said, if you're getting text messages and stuff, it might interrupt what you're doing down here and make it more difficult to run the trains. And the nice thing about using the app for DCS is you can build lashups, add engines, you can program switches and accessories really easily. The downside is once the engines are up and running, you're kind of staring at your phone the whole time. And that's what's so nice about an actual remote is you have the tactile feel to it. The Lionel whistle on this remote is the greatest thing on earth. Who doesn't love to push your thumb down on the whistle? So I was always saying I wish one of them would combine the best of both worlds, where there was a touch screen and tactile options. And according to what I'm reading right now, MTH is basically saying they're developing a handheld remote that combines the two. So my hope would be one day maybe Lionel will also combine the two. This is all way down the road, but I think if you're, like you guys mentioned, if Lionel's finally combining though, like, I mean, let's focus on the Cab 3 for now. If Lionel's finally combining a system that is going to let you run all these different, tiers of engines that you have, like, that's a great thing. That's a really great thing. I mean, Legacy is a great system. Like, I have no shame in admitting that. It works really well. I've run Legacy. I hooked it up to this layout and was running Legacy trains with my buddies in no time. So Cab 3 is definitely, I think it's going to be a hit because Cab 2 was a hit.
Mm-hmm. And something else to note is in your case, Jason, like, you don't have a lot of new Lionel products, and based on what you're going to be, what you might be getting, that engine, like, to say you get those F units, those engines don't have any wild features in them. They're pretty generic engines, which means you don't have to get a new Cab 3 or the base 3 yet.
Right.
I think what that's something else people probably have looked over some is you don't need it yet, but they might be introducing the new 4-digit addressing, which is kind of it's a feature that's been around in DCC for years, which you don't need that to run your trains. However, they could be bringing out new Steam features or actual mechanical features where you need this base or the app to function, because, like Chris said, this keypad is limited. You don't have a ton of buttons on here, but say Lionel does come out with a new remote, they could make this almost all screen. Then it could be more universal. And of course, the best thing about the Legacy remote, the best thing hands down, is the slider for the whistle because of the quilling effect. I could have one of these. If they took one of these remotes and just put a slider up here, I'd be fine with that. I don't need the screen. I don't need any of that. The slider, that's all I need. Like,
yeah,
I don't need the screen.
I think that my prediction with this whole thing is that eventually, when the price of computer chips maybe settles back down or they become more available and people can start thinking about how to develop some things, is you're going to see Lionel, this is just a prediction, that you can take a phone or something like a phone and connect it somehow to a remote, that you would still have, the remote would not have any of the innards in it anymore, but the powerhouse would be your phone, but it gives you back that tactile remote feel. I know that Tony from the Rambles is looking at trying to do the remote controller, video game controller thing. He had shared some information on that he was working on. So I wouldn't be surprised if down the road someone comes up with something that you can either connect your phone to, be it with Bluetooth, or it just, maybe even connects into some sort of remote that you get back that feel. I mean, who knows what technology is going to look like in 5 years? So, right now we're holding handheld phones, and they might look completely different in 5 years too. We don't know. So there's a lot of possibilities with this. And when you come down to all those features, like, they have to figure out how to put that wheel slip feature into a remote, so it's going to be a lot easier on an app.
Now, see, it's funny you say that, because there's a piece. Command control for Lionel trains was not created for us. It was created for someone who had disabilities, and there's a product, and I have one. I don't think I have it out here. Actually, give me 1 second. You guys keep talking. Hold on.
You were the one that was talking.
Is that an accurate statement?
Aha! This is like a little pride and joy kind of piece. I never take this out because I don't have a need for it.
Is this going to be appropriate for our younger audience?
Yes, it is.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
it is.
Okay.
This is a Lionel product. Lionel made this, and it's called the Big Red Switch. And what this does is it connects to your command control remote, whether it's the Legacy or TMCC remote. On top, there's a little plug. You plug it in, and if I blow the whistle, this now is a whistle button. Now, Chris, you brought up the idea of being able to plug your phone or something in. Maybe down the road they make it so you can plug your phone into these remotes, and then that's how you can get that extra feature or code on the screen. That's just an idea, and plus, come on, this is awesome. I just love this.
I have never seen that before.
I love that you have that.
This
If there was one person who had it, it would be him.
This was made for Neil Young's son, who
Okay.
I forgot what disability he had, but he didn't have a lot of motor skills, so he could slap this and a train would blow its whistle or its bell would go off. And he even had one like next to his head in his wheelchair, so he could hit it with his head, and it allowed him to control model trains, and that's why this stuff was created. And
I see RBP perking up. He's like, I need to have one.
I love
Chris-
things like that. Stories like that, you know, where
this
where
like
technology
what-
is adapted to make it accessible for everyone.
like this product is very like it's not a normal Lionel product. Like there's a company's name on this. It might be hard to read. It's hard to read because it's in black, but it's AbleNet Incorporated, and like it's just so cool. And because this technology exists, maybe one of these days we'll be able to connect something like our phones to these older remotes and get those new features. Enough of me.
The more you know.
Yeah, I know. The more you
We
know.
all learned something tonight.
That's really cool.
And, this I'll maybe after this call I can talk about this some more. But yeah, that's a cool product, and
For your next
hope-
video set.
hopefully Lionel adopts that technology once more.
All right.
Back to our fearless host, RJ.
So, once again, I want to thank all of you guys for joining me tonight as we talked about what we found interesting in the catalog. Figured one last thing that we can do to wrap up here is just one by one, just go through and say what we're interested in, because we jumped around a little bit. We are telling everybody a little bit of everything. So, Sid, if you want to go first, things that you're thinking about pre-ordering.
So the big thing I'm definitely going to order is a Class A number 1238 with the roller bearing rods. That's awesome. I'm an NNW guy. I gotta get it. I have my Y6B here. It's awesome. The next thing is a Doodlebug. I'm going to order that Maryland and Pennsylvania one. Again, awesome product, and hopefully it'll be just outstanding. I'm pretty sure a bunch of us are going to get that, so I'm excited for that. Then just a few rolling stock pieces. I might get some NNW coal cars. They get that Monsters Inc. Tank car, which is just so neat. And then I'm debating on the base 3. I'm debating because there's going to be so much hype around it, and I kind of want to know. I'm a tech person. I love engineering. I got to know what this is all about. So we'll see.
Yeah, Mr. Electronics, we know that you're going to end up with the Cap 3 sooner than the rest of us. Chris, Trains and Things. You're up next.
So thanks again for hosting, RJ. I'm excited about this one. I'm thinking the 210-4 is right up there. Then the Rocket Train, Doodlebug. I'll definitely get the Doodlebug for sure. So I just still up in the air. I mean, the Class A, each day I'm driving to work, I'm thinking, man, Class A would be really nice. But then I want to get one different than all of you folks, so I got to think of which one works out the best. So we'll see. We'll see. Who knows? I got to wait until I go down to Toy Trains and Collectibles in February with some of you guys, and we place those pre-orders. We won't know till then. So that's just wait and see.
All right, Jason, is this the catalog?
I'm thinking it's the catalog that the Reading and Northern F9s really, they're really speaking to me. I think that might be the one. I'll just say, people ask, is this a good catalog? Is it a bad catalog? Is it a great catalog? And I think for me, it's a good catalog because there's, something in it for me engine-wise and potentially some freight cars. But for the overall train community, I do think it's a great catalog because, look what you have. You have a whole new control system being announced. You have a Vision Line engine. You have multiple steamers. You have some new MTH tooling. You have some old Lionel tooling. You got Doodlebugs. You got all kinds of cool stuff in there. I really think there's something for everyone in it. So for all the things I say that come across as negative, I mean, I do think it's a great catalog. I really do. And it looks like there might be one or two things in it for me, so I'm pretty excited.
Great to hear. And the big man himself.
Who?
Well, the one who's going to end up with one of everything eventually.
Not one of everything. No. So I agree. It was a very fresh catalog for me. So certainly going to explore the new control system. I think someone's got to take a plunge and see what's going on with that. I will end up snagging one of the Vision Line Class A's. I don't know which one, but I have to add it to the Steam roster. And then, of course, my favorite thing in the catalog is the Aberdeen. I looked at the comments. There was debate. Is it magenta? Is it purple? Is it pink? So we're going to say it's all of those things. We won't know till it ships. That's my favorite thing.
Literally.
See what shows up in the box.
Yeah, and then I will dive into a couple of the Lion Chief pieces, but I'll probably snag those as they come out. But again, I think it's just an excellent, fresh catalog. A lot of great stuff.
All right.
Chris,
so
are you going forward with a Cab 3?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
All right. So I'm hearing we're quadruple heading Doodlebugs when they arrive.
Awesome.
So
hey, I just RJ, I just want to thank
Yeah.
you again. I hope that the viewers appreciated listening to us ramble, and this was a little bit something different than just going page by page, but having more of a conversation, which I really enjoyed. So thanks again, man.
yeah, and hopefully when the next catalog comes out, we'll host it on one of you guys' channels, and we'll rotate it through because it's refreshing just to talk about it with you guys and everybody in the chat rather than flipping through page by page when we can sit at home and do that as
Yeah, that's
well.
awesome.
And there are plenty of other guys who do that and take the time to go through each page and explain it to us. So we don't want to step on their grounds either.
That's right.
For those of you watching, let us know what you're ordering. I think one of the best gauges of what is going to be popular in the catalog is to hear what the community at large is ordering. So if you watch tonight, or if you're watching this as a replay, drop a comment. Let us know. It helps me decide what to review on my channel. I know it does it for the rest of the guys here too.
Because we might be crazy and be the only ones who actually like the Doodlebug, but since we talk with each other, we're just overhyping the Doodlebugs in our own head. But in my original catalog review, I said that I wasn't going to be ordering much of anything in this catalog. And now that I've been thinking about it and talking about it for too long, I'm glad that I canceled some of my other pre-orders that I had going on. But I think I am going to go in on the Vision Line 1218, just because I already have Southern 4501 and 4501 along with 611 and 1218 triple-headed a few trains, and I think that would be awesome to replicate in O scale. That Amtrak Phase 5 cabbage, because I'm Mr. Amtrak here in O scale, so I need to pick up one of those. We didn't get to talk about it, but that wood-sided chapel car, I think that's cool. Don't know if I'll pre-order that, but it's certainly something that I want. That and that Pensy Doodlebug along with the the Monsters Inc. tank car. I think those are going to be really cool semi-scale pieces. And like Sid and Chris was saying, I will be ordering those from Toy Trains and Collectibles as well. We're going to be heading down there first weekend of February the 5th, Sid and Chris Trains and things. So maybe we'll put out some information as we get closer to timing. If you guys want to come and meet up with us at the store and see what we actually pre-order, because I think that the Vision Line Class A is going to be a game time decision on pre-order.
Yeah, it is.
Chris is going to be checking his bank account as he's walking into the store to see if he can swing the Class A.
Oh man.
Sorry, I'm already putting peer pressure on this live stream. I have Chris telling me that I need to get the black bonnet. So
Triple header. Go with the 460 that Pat's Trains did as well. Make it a quadruple header, black bonnet. Goodness.
so many.
All right. Well, I think we've stretched this out enough. We've been going for about 90 minutes now. So once again, thank you to all of you guys for joining me tonight on this live stream, as well as all of you guys watching. Really means a lot, and it's great to have like 130 people here watching. It shows that the community is really strong, and there's really nothing better than that. And hopefully it keeps getting stronger as we go along. But for now, everybody, take care. Have a good night and stay safe.
Thank you, RJ.
Thanks everybody.
Thanks,
Thanks.
everyone.
Thank you, everyone.